What is going on? It's Friday. We made it. Hope you have some good plans for this weekend. Maybe you're going to see the Lewiston EL game tonight. I do have my football jersey on. I'm not sure if grown men are supposed to wear football jerseys, but I do have mine on to represent Lewiston. We'll read Translating Grandfather's House one more time. Just kind of wrap it up in case there are any last minute thoughts on that. It seemed like Hanging Fire was more popular than Translating Grandfather's House. I mean, there is kind of only one way to read that poem, Translating Grandfather's House. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what we'll watch right after this. Kira and Nate, they're in Cuba. So you're going to see some of the sites that kind of relate to the poem because it seems like there are a lot of vibrant colors. Talk about that after, but let's talk about this poem here. Get the glasses on, fire this up. We didn't even look at this picture yesterday. My fault, but that might be maybe what Grandfather's house looks like. All right, so probably, as we said yesterday, this guy, we don't even know if it's a guy, do we? This person had an assignment in probably art class. Hey, draw a house that a family house you grew up in or whatever. So he does that, or she does that at first. According to my sketch, rows of lemon and mango trees frame the courtyard of grandfather's stone and clapboard home. The shadow of a palomino gallops on the lip of the horizon. Teacher says, house is from some Zorro movie I've seen. That's my mom, I protest. She was born there, right there on the second floor. Crossing her arms, she moves on. Memories, once certain as rivets, become confused as awakenings in strange places, and I question the house, the horse, the wrens, perched on the slate roof, the roof Oscar Jardin tumbled from one hot Tuesday, installing a new weather vane. He broke a shin and 2 fingers. Classmates finished drawings of New York City housing projects on Navy Street. I draw one too, with wild grass rising from sidewalk cracks like widows. In big round letters, I title it Grandfather's House. Beaming, the teacher scrawls an A+ in the corner and tapes it to the green blackboard. All right, so that's the poem. One time through. If anybody has any thoughts, let me know. I think we talked a little bit about the theme yesterday, just to talk about it one more time. To me, I could be wrong, right? Or I'm not wrong, but it just is one possible interpretation. I mean, I think I can find enough evidence to back my interpretation up, but that doesn't mean somebody else can't read the same thing and have a different interpretation. But I do think this is the theme, the author's message that they're trying to get through to us is that, and we talked a little bit about this with Apache Girl and the Medicine Bag, is that how some, Americans, I guess, with the Apache Girl and Medicine Bag, it was the government, but Americans sometimes want other cultures to be American, whatever that American is, maybe more European. So if somebody was coming from Cuba and living in a housing project, the teacher, probably an American teacher, was probably thinking, oh, there's no way that this poor kid could ever have lived in a house like this. Where a lot of times immigrants who come from another country, oftentimes, not always, but at least like the first immigrants from a country or a war or whatever come, they're usually the more wealthy. Like they have the ability to get out of the country when things go bad. We're going to be talking about the Holocaust in Q4. So we need to get Q4 is mostly going to be about genocide. It's not a great way to end the year, but it's an important way, I think, to end the year. And so a lot of times with the Holocaust, there were 6 million people killed in concentration camps. But if somebody could get out of Germany before things got bad, and it wasn't just Germany, I'm just trying to simplify it, and they had money to leave, the first couple people The wealthiest people are able to leave. A lot of YouTubers that I watch are fleeing Russia. I watch a lot of Russian YouTubers in English, and a lot of them are fleeing. They're going to countries like Georgia, not the state, not Atlanta, but Georgia. They're going to Turkey. So they have a little bit of money trying to get away from the draft, things like that. So it's very possible in Cuba. You'll see in Karen Nate, I mean, there are some beautiful parts of Cuba. And so this is very likely. But even the teacher has this person questioning, but did this really happen? But then they have a whole bunch of details about installing a weather vane, falling off, breaking a shin and 2 fingers, like really good detail. So I think it's a commentary on how immigrants, when they come here, are forced to give up their culture to become American, something like that. Any final thoughts? Let me know. If not, we'll get right into Kara and Nate. That's about a 10-minute video. Hopefully you like it. It's better than just listening to me talk, and you'll learn a little bit about Cuba. They are going to mention, it came up in a couple classes yesterday. It does sound like Cuba, I think it was made 4 years ago, but does sound like it's kind of communist still. They're going to talk about a doctor who makes only $80 a month in Cuba. And Nate, the guy, he's like, I question what's the motivation to become a doctor. See, that's the difference between communism and capitalism, which is kind of what the United States practices, and at least in theory. Capitalism, work hard, make more money, if that's what's important to you. With communism, it's kind of the opposite. Like, hey, everybody's going to be equal. So even the jobs that require more education or harder work or whatever, they're kind of paid the same, which is one of the many flaws of communism. We'll talk about it later. But all right, that's enough for today. See ya.